do to fall asleep? Just to accept that you are tired. It moves by itself. I call it the space between being awake and another consciousness level, which then comes in when you sleep. Maybe if there is a God, as a metaphor, he realized that people will have difficulty to deal with stillness, so he made you fall asleep every day, so that at least once a day you realize the stillness. And what is the art of falling asleep? Absolutely no resistance. Absolutely no reaction, because the moment you say, "Oh, I'm falling asleep, what do I do now with my arm?" You're awake again. Pure observation. Observation is the movement of whatever is there. You don't react to it. And what is this? Stillness. And the only way you can in this life, whatever happens to you, keep healthy, is through stillness. I'm working now since 32 years with people, and in the time I started to work, I work from what I see in the aura structure. Since 3 years, that's my job. No one was talking about modern neuroscience, and I was always saying the only thing which changes is stillness. Nowadays, modern neuroscience will tell you the brain is going to change through moving into stillness. What happens in the brain? Conditioning of attitudes is like creating fields of structures in your brain. If you want to get out of that, let me give an example. You say, "I cannot feel love because my mother didn't love me." Now that's like a conditioning habit structure in your brain. Now if you go to a therapy and you constantly talk about that, you just reaffirm that habit. If you go into stillness, new synapses, new communication in the brain. And you all know it. Whenever you have stopped reacting to things, your brain becomes intelligent. Your brain moves out of the old structures. That's why prayer is working. You think prayer is working because there's somewhere a God who's listening. You know what's the difference between prayer and meditation? Prayer is you tell God what he should do, but at the same time you say he knows, so why do you need to tell him? And meditation is you listen to God. And whenever you listen, the brain becomes tremendous intelligent, because that's that stillness. And out of that stillness comes love. So then, with 6 years old, every 2 weeks we had to stand in a row, and people came to look at these kids, which kids they would take. Of course, normally they always would take girls. So one day with 6 I thought, I will never get out of that home if I do not make my own step. Now watch. I'm telling you that because I said until now absolutely no reaction, but now I make a step. And I will explain you the difference. The step was, there came an older woman and a younger woman. Later, of course, I realized the younger woman was the one who wanted to adopt. The other one, the older woman, was her mother. And I thought, from what I saw, I'm going to this older woman. So I went to her and said, "Please take me with you." So they took me with her. The first thing, as I said, was we went for food. The first time in my life, spinach, potatoes, and a thing. Then, as I had long hair like that, they had the stupid idea to go with me to a hairdresser. Remember? The knives. I'm sitting there and comes this guy with a knife. I probably have never been so fast out of a chair. Running down the street, they all behind me. What I did with saying, you take me with you, I made an initiation. The secret of moving in stillness is very simple. It's like taking a stone and throwing it into the water. What do you do then? Do you jump and start to do like that? You watch the ripples. It happens by itself. So you have an activation and then nothing. If I would have made the activation going to the woman and say, please take me with you, and at the same time building up expectations, she has to take me, what will happen if she doesn't take me? The stillness is gone because you are in frustration. Because it could have been that she said, we prefer this intelligent girl with nice teeth. Happened all the time. We had to open our eyes, our mouth, and the doctor would say, oh, you see. You have to imagine the first night I was at my adoptive parents' place. My adoptive mother said to me, open your eyes, and she came with a brush. And I said, what is she doing with that? She said, cleaning the teeth. I said, what is cleaning the teeth? 6 years old, I had no idea. So my first step was out of stillness, an activation, and absolutely no expectation what will happen with it. Have you ever thought if you can activate something without any expectation of what will happen, which is the future, you cannot have psychological fear. Psychological fear comes when you expect and imagine and desire how it should turn out. If you don't do that, there's no fear. Can you be happy when there is fear? Tricky. So then I left that home and I came to these people who started to take care of me. The problem only was that I was so used in that time to start to talk with friends which were not present. Spirits. They lived in a beautiful old house, an old monastery, so a huge garden, and I would sit hours in that garden, talk with spirits, and my adoptive mother said, something is going wrong here. Probably she thought, we really choose the wrong guy. We will have a big problem here. The only time she stopped worrying, but she still is afraid of me, but she stopped worrying, is after one night, I was there about 1 year, I went to her bedroom because her father was appearing by my bed and said he had died. I went to the bedroom, I knocked, I went in, I said, you have to wake up, your father died. She said, come on, go again to bed. Stop these things. I said, the telephone will ring soon. 1 minute later, the telephone called. It was her mom saying, your father has died. From then on, she left me in peace. She thought, that's it. My father was professor at university in Bern. He even more rational. Only when he was dying, he was saying to me, hey, tell me, what is this red Indian doing by my bed? And then he said, but don't say to your mother, otherwise she thinks I'm as well mad as you. Have you ever seen spirits? Shall I tell you why you don't see spirits? There's two very simple reasons. First, because if you look at objects, you cannot see auras and you cannot see spirits. You have to look at space. Stillness is that center in you without object, space. Spirits are everywhere, but you have to look at the space. And second, because you believe, when I say you, I don't mean everybody, but I'm just talking to you, because you believe in that nonsense that they are bad spirits. How do you get in touch with someone? You cannot get in touch really with someone if you don't listen, if you don't have an open heart, if you are defensive. As more defensive, as more on the body level, as less you can be in touch with someone. It's the same with spirits. The only way to be in touch with spirits is in loving. Now, if you believe that there are bad spirits, how can you love? You will say, ooh, maybe there's a bad one. I have never, and I'm now 61, I have never encountered in my whole life a bad spirit. I have seen people being possessed by the idea of bad spirits, but not by a bad spirit. I have never in my life seen a bad spirit hurting someone. You know the word poltergeist. Have you observed? There are some of them, they can even draw a knife, but they always will take care that sharp next to your body, but never on your face. It's a question of law of attraction. It is how you, with your energy, perceive things. It's not that they are bad. Now, why I'm telling that is for a simple reason. It's the same with people. If from the beginning you see someone and you go from, that person could be bad, which always means she may not love me, you have lost the stillness. You have lost your ability for empathy. It's gone. Not because you do not have the power. It's the same like saying, if you put it now onto the level of yourself, saying, I need to change. Since a little boy, I have realized no one needs to change. Let's take the nurse who comes in, who beats me up, who threatens me with the knife, who doesn't give me food. You have to imagine when I came out of the hospital after, it was a form of hospital, of the home after 6 years, no one knew if I will survive or not. Now let's take one of these nurses like that. Why? I come back to why was she behaving like that? Because she was suffering herself. Which means she must have in her love, otherwise she couldn't suffer. But she couldn't express the love. Because of whatever reason, who cares? So what you see, what you do? You realize you can say, oh, you have to change, and then become a good person, and then you can love. Or you can go my way, like I did already as a 4-year-old. You can realize the woman is independent from her behavior, in essence love. So the only thing she has to do, as less she wants to change, as less she makes an effort to become different, as more she stops wanting to be something, as more she naturally falls into stillness, therefore the essence comes through. Stop, please, making effort to reach something. I'm not saying outside in this world to become something. Who cares about the outside world? As long you don't, if you are famous, identify with that and think you are famous because of whatever, no problem. The only thing you have to do is to realize that in your essence, you are always love. Otherwise, you would not be in that state you are in it doesn't matter. Whenever you feel bad, suffer, then it's a sign who shows you you are doing that. You have these feelings because you are in essence are love. So you don't need to change anything in you. You see, that's what Buddha meant when he started with meditation. I don't know if the story of Buddha is true or not, but I don't care. But what happened? He tried everything, every technique, running around, meditation in 1,000 different ways, standing like a Sada, trying to be as poor as possible, not eating. Until one day he realized this is all nonsense. And the moment he stopped all that, enlightenment. And it's very logic why. Because your essence, that when you die, which will manifest again, is anyway around you, in you. So where do you want to go with the body-mind? You don't need to focus on that. It is already there, but you have to slow down. And then in that, much later, but in connection with my childhood, I realized, hey, there is a huge problem, for example, also in Buddhism. The guy I work with, the representative of Dalai Lama, he loves me because of that. Because I say, you Buddhists have missed something. Like the psychologists. You missed something. Christianity has missed something. Let me explain that. And that was which created in me from the beginning happiness, because I was lucky not to miss that. I had no chance not to miss it. You know the word compassion. Compassion is part of empathy. Feeling for people, suffering for people. That's the main structure, specifically in Christianity and Buddhism, in all religion, but if we take now Buddhism. When someone feels bad, when someone is unhappy, when someone has a problem, if you are not totally lost, your energy of compassion, of empathy is activated. But that's what then I said to the Buddhists, but you missed something. It looks like it seems to be very easy to have empathy, compassion, when people feel bad or are hurt. What about the compassion for people who are happy? Have you observed? As soon someone is happy compared with someone who has it good, envy, jealousy. The whole race of I should be a little better than that person. But compassion, of course, in the deep sense, does not mean for the people only who suffer. To be joyful for the ones who are before you. To be absolutely happy for the one who succeeds. But if you are very honest, it hurts us. Envy, jealousy is the only psychological problem there exists. All the rest is superficial. It seems for us so difficult to have joy that someone is, in the comparing sense, before us. We are a society of envy. The whole commercial business works like that. Have you ever seen a wash machine presented in a poor little place? No, it's always a nice house, or all the kids in the family are rich. The whole commercial business is based on Be a little envy, because that makes you try a little more. My suggestion is, the moment you have envy, you cannot be happy. The moment you are ready not only to have compassion for the poor, but also for the lucky one, you are not only free, you're not only liberated, you don't only have inner peace, you can be happy. We have to really see, not work, just see the process of envy, of jealousy. That's the one who holds back. Why is that happening? Very simple. You see, as a little child, your essence is still radiating love. You see the misery of people. You don't know how to react to it, so you close up, and at the same time you know deep in yourself that being happy, that being able to love is the only state really worth to live. Therefore, jealousy and envy is born. It's not your fault. It's not because of your parents. It's a natural movement of evolution to move you back to the source. But one has to see it. So in my connection with the parents, with the home, I started slowly to realize no reaction. And I mean the same no reaction like when you fall asleep. I'm not saying the reaction when someone hurts someone that you say, "Ooh, I don't care." We are talking only about the feeling level. No